Americans are waking up to a new reality. Ordinary foods are no longer predictable, economical, or guaranteed to appear on shelves. Food inflation is more than just a blip on the graph. It is becoming the new normal. And while official government figures attempt to calm the situation with soft percentages, consumers know better. You know it when a $2 item becomes $4 overnight. You notice it when your favorite food mysteriously disappears from the shelves. And you know it when your monthly shopping expenditure suddenly resembles a vehicle payment. What's causing this mess? A toxic combination of droughts, labor shortages, geopolitical crises, supply chain disruption, and corporate consolidation. From California to Southeast Asia, every link in the food chain is being pushed to its maximum. What's worse, experts believe this storm is simply getting begun. That's why we're cutting through the clutter today to spotlight 20 food products that are poised to become practically priceless in the coming months. Not because they're uncommon delicacies, but because the systems that sustain them are beginning to fail. If you want to remain ahead of the curve and the expense, now is the time to get informed. Let's begin with a simple pantry staple that's going to become anything but humble. 1. Chickpeas. Chickpeas may not scream urgent, but worldwide shortages reveal a completely different tale. Chickpeas have quietly become one of the world's most popular legumes, with applications ranging from hummus bowls to vegan protein, and they are suddenly running out. According to the Global Pulse Confederation, chickpea yields in key exporters such as India, Australia, and the United States are down roughly 20% year on year. Australia, which accounts for about 15% of world exports, has experienced consecutive droughts, cutting chickpea output by half. In India, irregular monsoons are damaging crops before they can be harvested. In the United States, California's water issue has reduced acreage, with farmers switching from chickpeas to less thirsty crops. What's the real-world impact? Prices have already risen by more than 30% since last year, and that's before the next wave of shortages begins. Sabra, one of North America's leading hummus makers, has temporarily ceased production in 2023 because of chickpea supply concerns. And what about the lesser brands? To survive, they either raise costs or reduce container size. If you rely on chickpeas as a low-cost protein source or as a meal prep staple, now is the time to stock up before they become as pricey as the meats they were designed to replace. 2. Cheese. Walk by the cheese department and you could assume everything is okay until you glance at the prices. Prices for mozzarella, cheddar, and shredded mixes are growing quicker than most people realize. But it isn't simply inflation. The whole dairy supply chain is collapsing behind the scenes. It begins with cows. The USDA said that America's dairy herd has declined dramatically, with smaller family farms closing and major companies consolidating control. With rising feed costs, labor shortages, and a persistent vet prescription backlog, it's no wonder that milk supply is declining in crucial areas like Wisconsin and Idaho. But there is more. Aging infrastructure and processing facilities has resulted in expensive bottlenecks. When you combine it with variable energy costs and transportation concerns, you get the ideal storm. According to the International Dairy Foods Association, the cost of cheese manufacturing has increased by more than 40% since 2021, and that's before it reaches grocery stores. Retailers have responded with discrete price increases and visible shrinkflation. A block of cheese that used to cost $3.99 now costs $6 in many parts of the country, assuming it's even available. Some supermarkets are discontinuing specialty cheeses entirely. If you thought cheese will always be a comfort food, think again. This dairy essential is quickly becoming a luxury item, and the worst might be yet to come. 3. Cereal. Cereal has traditionally represented economical convenience, the go-to breakfast that keeps mornings moving and youngsters satiated. But this year, even a simple cup of cereal is becoming a financial burden. What's the reason? A quiet grain calamity strikes from numerous directions. Climate shocks and export limitations have had a significant impact on cereal basic components such as wheat, corn, rice, and oats. Argentina and Ukraine, two major grain exporters, have reported historic crop losses. Meanwhile, the United States is dealing with its own challenges, with the Midwest suffering from unseasonal droughts and floods that have drastically reduced maize and oat crops. Cereal behemoths like Kellogg's and General Mills are sounding the alarm, warning that grain contracts are growing more difficult and expensive to acquire. During a recent earnings call, General Mills admitted that their grain costs have increased by more than 25%, which they intend to pass on to customers. What was the result? A box of name brand cereal that used to cost $3.50 is now easily worth $5.50 or more, with less cereal inside. Even store brand choices have followed suit, eliminating the final sanctuary for frugal buyers. Cereal may still be available on store shelves, but it is becoming increasingly expensive. For families that rely on cereal for quick, no-fuss mornings, this staple is becoming more expensive by the spoonful. 4. Instant coffee. Millions of people rely on instant coffee to get them through the day, but your morning boost may soon come at a steep cost. While coffee beans have always been vulnerable to global weather and trade fluctuations, instant coffee is currently at the focus of an escalating dilemma. The problem begins at the source. Brazil and Vietnam, the world's main coffee producers, have both been severely impacted by weather extremes. Brazil saw its worst cold in nearly 50 years, followed by a record drought. Meanwhile, Vietnam is experiencing labor shortages and diminished yields. They account for more than 60% of the global instant coffee supply. Add to that the increased cost of processing and packaging, both of which instant coffee relies on significantly more than whole beans, and you've got a perfect storm. The soluble coffee used in instant goods necessitates additional energy-intensive processing, which has grown significantly more expensive because of worldwide fuel price increases. Nestle, one of the market's top competitors, has previously warned of imminent price rises, with retail distributors reporting shelf prices rising up to 40% since 2022. A jar that originally cost $6 has easily surpassed the $9 mark. Instant coffee was the final excellent value choice for households looking to save money by foregoing coffee places and making at home. But in current global upheaval, even that comfort is sliding out of reach. 5. Cooking spray. It's one of those things you don't notice until it's gone, or until the price triples. Cooking spray, the apparently infinite kitchen friend, is on the verge of a supply catastrophe. It has nothing to do with the spray itself, but rather with everything around it. Most cooking sprays contain vegetable oil, which is commonly soybean, canola, or sunflower. All three have had devastating supply outages. Sunflower oil exports from Ukraine are still suffering from war-related transportation delays. Soybean oil prices soared following weak harvests in South America. Canola oil output in Canada has declined owing to a severe drought. Next comes the packing. Cooking sprays rely on pressurized aerosol cans, which are currently experiencing aluminum and propellant shortages. Several major can manufacturers in North America have reported delays lasting up to 6 months. With increased shipping and warehousing expenses, it's no surprise that prices have discreetly risen by 35% or more in less than a year. Some stores are already restricting store-brand cooking sprays, while name brands such as Pam are appearing less frequently on shelves and at higher prices when they do. What's with the irony? Cooking spray has gained popularity as a healthier, less expensive alternative to butter and oil. However, even this low-calorie culinary hero is now ensnared in a pricing trap that is only going to grow worse. 6. Baby formula. You would think that after the headlines in 2022, the infant formula problem would be over, but for millions of parents, the horror continues, only now it's quieter, more expensive, and far from done. The issue began with the closure of a major formula facility in the United States, but it revealed a far larger problem. The infant formula business is dangerously consolidated. Only 3 businesses dominate practically all domestic output. While the shelves are no longer totally bare, they are far from full, and the prices are nothing short of scary. Raw material shortages continue to cause production delays, particularly for dairy-based components and specialized nutrients such as DHA and ARA. Meanwhile, worldwide transportation remains unreliable, making imported products difficult to obtain and considerably more costly. Even when the formula is accessible, price shock strikes hard. A canister that used to cost $18 may now cost up to $35, and this is only for the regular blend. WIC program delays and rural supply chain constraints exacerbate the problem. For parents of newborns with allergies or particular dietary needs, alternatives are limited, often necessitating calls across multiple states simply to locate one can. The crisis has merely moved underground. Less obvious, but as painful. If you believe the formula shortage was a one-time occurrence, think again. The market has not recovered, and parents are still paying the price. 7. Oranges. Orange juice was long considered a morning staple. Now it's considered a luxury. And who is the culprit? An unprecedented drop in orange output that is affecting the United States more than any other country in the globe. Florida, long regarded as America's citrus capital, has seen its orange output plummet to its lowest levels since the Great Depression. The causes read like a disaster checklist: citrus greening disease, which slowly kills orange trees, several storms, and increasing temperatures have all decimated orchards across the state. According to the USDA, Florida's orange crop in 2023 to 2024 is down more than 60% from a decade earlier. And it isn't just Florida. Brazil, the world's top source of orange juice, is also experiencing severe drought and crop illnesses. This means that overseas backup is unlikely to arrive very soon. What was the result? A gallon of orange juice currently costs at least $8 in many regions of the United States. And that's if you can find it. Juice firms are secretly lowering container sizes or combining with less expensive fruit juices to extend limited supply. But it's not just about juice. Whole oranges, mandarin packs, and even orange-flavored snacks and supplements are growing more costly as supply chains consolidate and constrict. So while orange juice may still be on your shelves, the days of inexpensive citrus are past. This is not a seasonal price increase. It's a full-blown agricultural disaster with no quick solution in sight. 8. Rice. Rice seldom makes news. It's peaceful, stable, and always present until it's not. And right now, the global rice market is on the verge of a major supply shock, which may have far-reaching consequences across the grocery store. India, the world's top rice exporter, has put curbs on some rice exports to protect local supplies in the face of growing prices. That one move has affected approximately 40% of worldwide non-basmati rice trading. Meanwhile, nations such as Pakistan and Thailand are dealing with disastrous floods and water shortages, which have destroyed large amounts of their crops. Even the United States, a smaller but still important producer, has seen declining acreage as farmers migrate to more profitable crops. California's rice producers, in particular, are dealing with low snowpack and irrigation limitations, resulting in lower than average harvests for the second consecutive year. All of this adds up to rising wholesale costs and decreasing reserves. In several poor countries, panic purchasing has already begun. In the United States, bulk rice sacks that used to cost $10 are now selling for $18 or more. What makes this so concerning is how many processed goods use rice as a foundation component, ranging from infant food and cereal to snacks and gluten-free items. It's easy to ignore rice. It's plain. It's basic. However, when rice prices begin to plummet or double, the impact is loud, wide, and terrible. 9. Tuna. Tuna has long been a low-cost source of protein, but that is changing quickly. Overfishing, rising fuel prices, and climate change are combining to cause a tuna crisis that is shaking global seafood markets. The Pacific Ocean, which contains the vast bulk of the world's tuna supply, has suffered unprecedented temperature shifts, sending tuna schools into deeper waters, making catching them more difficult and expensive. With rising diesel rates for fishing fleets, the cost of each can of tuna continues to rise. According to the International Seafood Sustainability Foundation, worldwide yellowfin and skipjack populations are severely stressed, with restrictions being tightened for sustainability reasons. When you combine that with rising processing and shipping costs, what was once a $1 can now cost an average of $2.50. Sourcing and premium brands expect to spend $4 or more. Restaurants are discreetly increasing costs for tuna-based foods such as sushi and poke bowls, while supermarket stores are reducing multi-pack amounts. If tuna is a pantry or diet staple, be prepared. Oceans can't keep up, and wallets are feeling the strain. 10. Almonds. If you thought almonds were expensive before, strap up. This snack has officially joined the premium category. California produces more than 80% of the world's almonds, and the sector is facing various difficulties. The first issue is the drought. Almond trees are renowned water guzzlers, requiring about a gallon for each nut. With water restrictions tightening in California's Central Valley, growers are pulling orchards out of production at unprecedented rates. Second, pollination. Honeybee numbers, which are critical for almond blooms, have been destroyed by colony collapse disorder, chemical exposure, and climatic stress, increasing pollination costs dramatically. What was the result? Almond yields have dropped, while wholesale prices have risen by 25% in the last year. Almond milk manufacturers are reducing production, and snack firms are warning of more price increases. A $6 bag of almonds is now typically priced at $10, and almond-based items ranging from nutrition bars to dairy replacements are following suit. 11. Yogurt. Yogurt has long been promoted as a healthy and cheap staple. However, due to the turmoil in dairy production, probiotic-filled tubs are soon becoming a premium commodity. Milk prices are rising owing to declining dairy herds, greater feed costs, and worldwide supply interruptions. When you add in the specialist cultures, fruit purees, and energy-intensive refrigeration necessary for yogurt production, the expenses spiral upward. Brands such as Chobani and Fage have already hiked prices by up to 20% in the last year, with retail brands discreetly following suit. A single-serve yogurt cup that was formerly $1 now costs around $1.75, while multi-packs have risen from $4.99 to more than $7. Consumers who rely on yogurt for inexpensive protein are feeling the squeeze, and with inflationary pressures showing no signs of easing, the yogurt aisle may soon resemble a gourmet section. 12. Tortillas. Tortillas, one of the cheapest and most flexible cuisines, are under threat due to worldwide maize price increases. Severe drought in the United States. The Midwest has reduced maize yields, while worldwide markets are suffering from export prohibitions and fertilizer shortages. Mexico, the world's tortilla center, is also battling with high production costs, which are driving up prices for both maize and flour tortillas. The math is ugly. Maize costs are roughly 30% higher year on year, and manufacturers are charging for packing and shipping. What does this mean to you? That $2 bundle of tortillas might soon cost $4 or more. These price increases have hurt people that rely on tortillas as a nutritional staple, particularly in Hispanic areas. And because tortillas are a common component in a wide range of processed goods, the impact is enormous. 13. Mushrooms. Mushrooms are no longer a cheap culinary treat, whether you enjoy them in risottos or sautéed as a side dish. What's the problem? Labor and logistics. Mushrooms require hand-picking and highly regulated growth conditions, making them labor-intensive even during normal times. However, manpower shortages in the agriculture industry, along with growing energy costs for climate-controlled buildings, are driving prices up. When you add spikes in compost ingredients like straw and peat moss, you have a three-way threat to affordability. Specialty mushrooms such as shiitake and oyster have suffered the highest price increases, with wholesale prices up 40% in the last 2 years. Even common white mushrooms are not immune, with prices nearly doubling in some supermarkets compared to pre-pandemic levels. It's one of those pantry staples you don't think about until prices skyrocket. Vinegar, the unsung hero of dressings, marinades, and pickling, is facing a supply crunch. 14. Vinegar. Why? Grain scarcity. White vinegar is frequently manufactured from maize or wheat-based alcohol, both of which have increased in price. Apple cider vinegar, blame the soaring cost of apples. And then there's glass, a continuous bottle scarcity that's driving up packing prices. According to industry forecasts, vinegar costs are expected to rise by 15% to 25% this year alone. This is a significant blow to home canners and food preservers, especially as more people seek DIY remedies to battle food inflation. 15. Mustard. Europe is experiencing a mustard crisis, and the ripple effect is reaching worldwide stores. A violent heat wave in France, one of the world's leading mustard seed producers, destroyed the majority of its harvest. Canada, another important producer, also experienced low crops. With supplies plummeting, condiment companies are scrambling. Prices have climbed over 35% in the previous 12 months, and shortages have led to rationing in certain European stores. Specialty Dijon, practically gold. Even simple yellow mustard in the United States is becoming more expensive as manufacturers deal with rising seed prices and ballooning glass jar charges. Your summer cookout just becomes significantly more pricey. 16. Ice cream. Summertime without ice cream. That may become a reality for some homes as the cost of frozen delicacies rises. Dairy costs are the primary cause, but sugar prices and container shortages are exacerbating the problem. Energy expenses for cold storage and transportation have also increased dramatically. Ben & Jerry's and Haagen-Dazs have hiked their pricing many times since 2022. Industry experts predict another 10 to 15% increase this year. So yeah, the simple delight of a pint of ice cream is now accompanied by price shock, and this trend is unlikely to change very soon. 17. Tea. Tea lovers, take note. Climate change is creating turmoil in your cup. Monsoons in India and floods in Sri Lanka have decimated tea plants, reducing world supplies. India's Assam area recorded one of the lowest tea production in decades, while increased energy prices for drying and processing leaves are making problems worse. Black tea costs have risen 20% worldwide, with luxury kinds rising even faster. If tea is a part of your daily routine, prepare yourself. The days of inexpensive packs of 100 tea bags are numbered. 18. Baby carrots. Baby carrots were the ideal healthy snack since they were inexpensive, simple to prepare, and enjoyed by children. However, droughts in California, where the majority of U.S. carrots are farmed, have reduced supplies. Processing costs for peeling and packing add to inflation. Result, a $1.99 bag of baby carrots now costs $3.49, with more increases predicted over the summer months. 19. Jam and preserves. Making jam at home will not help you this year. Berry harvests in the United States and Europe are down owing to irregular weather, while sugar prices are at their highest in more than a decade. With the glass jar scarcity, jam businesses are warning of significant price changes. That $4 container of strawberry preserves may soon cost $7, or disappear entirely from store shelves. 20. Basmati rice. Basmati rice, known for its aroma and texture, is a South Asian staple that is now becoming a premium item overseas. However, heavy floods in Pakistan and export restrictions in India have reduced availability. Premium basmati prices have risen by over 40% in the last year, with bulk importers warning of more instability. For many who regard basmati to be an everyday staple, the shock will be difficult to stomach. The danger signs are everywhere. Global supply systems are collapsing, harsh weather is disrupting agricultural patterns, and production prices are skyrocketing. While some price increases will subside, others will persist, with unmistakable consequences for your supermarket basket. The truth is that what were once inexpensive, everyday essentials are gradually becoming high-priced commodities. For millions of families, these rises are more than just inconvenient. They are life-changing. What is the smartest move? Stay ahead. Stock up on long-lasting products before the next round of boosts arrives. Investigate alternatives whenever feasible. Most importantly, keep educated. Because in this new era of food economy, information truly is power.